Okay, so now that we have created a phone book application that writes data to a database by adding a new record, we will work on the two final pieces of this project, which are the ability to delete a record and the ability to edit a record. The delete record usually just requires one file, although you can do it a number of different ways. This one doesn't provide any confirmation of the deletion before it deletes it. It just deletes it first click, which is a little bit dangerous, but we're just going to keep it simple for this project. And then the edit function does require two files, one to create a form that has the record in it with the current information, allowing the user to edit it, and then another form, another script to save that. You'll notice that after each thing, we always go back to the main phone book page, which is kind of the central hub for this application. So in the application itself, it looks kind of like this. You can see I've added delete and edit buttons here. And if you look in the lower left-hand corner while I roll over these, you can see that both of these are going to a script and passing the ID for each record as a parameter or as a query string. And that allows those scripts to know which record we're editing or deleting. So if I want to add a new record, it might look like this. Larry Jones, put in a fake phone number. Okay, and a fake email address, and he will be born this Friday, apparently. He's very, very young. Okay, so we'll add the contact. There's Larry Jones there. Now, if I wanted to, I notice I didn't capitalize those, so if I want to edit those, I'm going to click the edit button, and you can see here everything gets populated just the way it should be. And then I'm going to go in here and fix that. And now if I update the contact, everything looks right, okay? And you can see here the last updated field is keeping track of the last time that was updated. But let's say that's ridiculous. I can't add a little baby to my phone book. He doesn't even have a phone number or email address yet. So I'm going to delete Larry Jones from my PHP phone book, and voila, he's gone. Like I said before, that's a little bit dangerous because we're not confirming, hey, do you actually want to delete this record? It's just gone, and we can't undo that. So just be aware that that's a potential hazard that you could be setting up for your users. Let's take a look at the code. We're going to look at the delete script first, and then the two edit scripts. So if I'm in here, the delete script is pretty straightforward, and you'll see a very high degree of similarity between the phone book add save script, the phone book edit save script, and the phone book delete script. And it's really in here that they're different, okay? They're all going back to phone book show after they're done, or even if they produce an error, we're always sending the user back to that main page. But with the delete script, we are changing up the SQL statement here to say delete from contacts where ID equals ID. And of course, we're getting that ID from the query string. So that's the delete script. That's the whole thing. And the edit script is actually very similar to our add script. We're using the same form. We're just changing up a few things. And what we're doing here is we are grabbing we're using a select query, just like we did in phone book show, right? There's a select query, we're getting those, but instead of going through each record and putting it into a row, right here like this, I'm actually taking that and I'm putting it right here. So you can see I'm doing row equals result.fetch associated array, which puts all of these into an array that has a key and value pair. And so what I can do down here in the form is I am just setting the value of each field to the corresponding value from the table. And I save myself a lot of work by naming the fields in the table and the fields in the form the same way. The other thing that's really important that you need to have in there is you need to have a hidden field that has the ID, because that has to be passed to the update script so that we know which one to update. And that is something that wasn't in the original form but is in the edit form. So when we click the update contact button, we're going to go to edit save, and you can see very similar things here, except I'm grabbing that ID number now, that new field that I added, and I'm taking that and I'm using it in the update script. You can see the SQL query is formed. Update contacts, that's the table name, set first name field equal to the variable from first name, which we get from here through the post, and the same for each field. We're going to update all of the fields, even though they're not changed, or whether they're changed or not, because that's just the easier way to do it. I could check and see if each field has been changed, but I don't have to do that. And then the final thing is I need to include the where, or else I'm going to update all of my records in the whole table to these values. So we've got to have where ID equals ID, which says basically update the record where these things are equal. Okay, and then we're going back to phone book show again, closing our connection, and that's really it. The only other thing that we need to deal with here is our phone book show page. And what I've added here is another column that shows these buttons. Okay, so that column is coded right here. And you can see I'm going to phone book edit, and I'm passing ID equals the ID from that row. And I'm doing the same with the deletion, phone book delete, and then the ID equals that row. And then I'm using a class, a CSS class, to style those buttons. So that is the relatively simple database-driven application that is the final piece of this class. Now, if I really wanted to make this good, I'd probably provide some buttons to navigate back, say, or cancel, so that I didn't have to update the contact to move forward. But you can see here everything is functional and the way it should be. So that is how we create a basic PHP phone book using databases.